Bismillah. Bismillah. Adaman. Adahim. Need some drink. I don't think I drink nothing since I. Way back. Alright. Enjoyed y'all's day. Tried to make the best out of y'all's day. I hope you learned something. Every day you should want to be learning something. You learn something every day, whether you want to or don't. You learn the right thing or wrong thing. You learn all the time. That's why you're always on your phone. Anyway, but you meant to learn. You are receptors. Alright, you meant to know. Hosea chapter 4 verse 6 said, my people are destroyed from a lack of knowledge. Unfortunately, many people know a lot of bull crap. Or that's what got a lot of people messed up. That's why we messed up. But the good news is, there's a way out of that. Alright? That's the road we're going to try to find. There's a recipe and answer. Many people search, few find it. Alright. But it's open for everybody. But long story short, we're about to dive in to Message to the Black Man in America by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. If y'all been rocking and rolling with me, you already know the point of view, how the brother's speaking. I'm just picking up, diving in. I ain't got a lot of time. I'm going to give y'all what I got while I can. Well, I'm going to give y'all what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad got through me while I can. The brother was very, very intelligent and ahead of his time. Alright. Many beneficial things can be gained from what the brother said. Alright. Page 31 say, original man, know thyself. I think it's quite cool. That's what the oracle told Neo in Latin when he walked in. Know thyself. What was wrong with Neo? He didn't know who he was. I was watching a short video earlier. I don't usually watch YouTube clips, but it just popped through my phone. I didn't know that the people named Neo. Y'all know the movie The Matrix? The dude Neo? The name Neo comes from the neocortex part of your brain. Word. Am I pronouncing it right? That's where they get the name Neo from the neocortex part of your brain. Neo was the one. The neocortex is the part of your brain when it becomes activated. You like know who you are. Neo didn't know who he was at first. He wasn't activated. He didn't know who he was. But that's cool. I heard a scientist dude say that. Like where I said, I didn't know that. That makes sense. Anyway, original man, know thyself. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, it is knowledge of self that the so-called Negroes lack, which keeps them from enjoying freedom, justice, and equality. This belongs to them divinely, as much as it does to other nations of the earth. It is Allah's, God's will. Kind of mean crook in my back. Sorry. It's alright, bro. Young dude get stiff, man. Listen, do a lot of moving around. Boy, been out here a long time, man. It is Allah's, God's will and purpose that we shall know ourselves. Therefore, He came Himself to teach us the knowledge of self. Who is better knowing of who we are than God Himself? He has declared that we are descendants of the Asian black nation of the tribe of Shabazz. You might ask, Who is this tribe of Shabazz? Originally, they were the tribe that came with the earth, or this part, 66 trillion years ago when a great explosion on our planet divided it into two parts. One we call Earth and the other Moon. I appreciate the new sub, bro. That's what's up. That's what's up. This was done by one of our scientists, God, who wanted the people to speak one language. This was done by one of our scientists, God, who wanted the people to speak one language, one dialect for all, but was unable to bring this about. He decided to kill us by destroying our planet, but still he failed. We were lucky to be on this part, Earth, which did not lose its water in the mighty blasting away of the part called Moon. We, the tribe of Shabazz, says Allah, God, were the first to discover the best part of our planet to live on, the rich Nile Valley of Egypt, and the present seat of the holy city, Mecca, Arabia. The origin of our kinky hair, says Allah, came from one of our dissatisfied scientists 50,000 years ago, who wanted to make all of us tough and hard in order to endure the life of the jungles of East Asia. I had to crack my back, man. Y'all gotta forgive me. Alright, my bad. Yeah, I had to get that out of the way. Young dude got stiff, man. Anyway, that's fire though. The origin of our kinky hair, says Allah, came from one of our dissatisfied scientists 50,000 years ago, who wanted to make all of us tough and hard in order to endure the life of the jungles of East Asia, Africa, and to overcome the beast there. But he failed to get the others to agree with him. He took his family and moved into the jungle to prove to us that we could live there and conquer the wild beasts. And we where did I get this book? My mom ordered that junk for me. Word. She gave it to me. Real rap. I think that's pretty cool. Word. Yeah, my mom gave this junk to me. You can online. Message to the Black Man in America by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Word. Where did I stop it? And we have. So, being the first and the smartest scientists on the deportation of our moon, and the one who suffered most of all, Allah, God, has decided to place us on top with a thorough knowledge of self and His guidance. We are the mighty, the wise, the best, but do not know it. Being without the knowledge, we disgrace ourselves, subjecting ourselves to suffering and shame. We could not get the knowledge of self until the coming of Allah. To know thyself is to know all men. As from us came all, and to us all will return. I must keep warning you that you should give up the white race's names and religion in order to gain success. Their days of success are over. He's speaking about I told you, my brother's point of view. He was born 1895. This book was wrote 1965. This brother was in the midst of segregation. It's been 400 years that we just now come out of slavery, man. The people, listen, it's 2025. And everything all right now to some degree, but it's kind of not. Because you see the people how crack, how heroin, strung off drugs, strung off alcohol, strung off porn. men acting like women, women acting like men. The children not being taught. You functional illiterate. All y'all go to school, but you get out of school, you can't do a damn thing with your education. Some of y'all got bachelor's degrees, psychology degrees, all type of other degrees, and you ain't got no type of degrees in learning. Some of y'all Freemasons and all this stuff or whatever you got going on. How many degrees do a Freemason got? 33. A 33 degree ain't not. It ain't even an acute angle. You ain't even standing up upright. If you know your geometry, right? A right angle is 90 degrees. If I ain't mistaken, to be upright, this is a right angle, right? 33 degrees like that. You ain't even at an acute angle, as far as the knowledge that you got, as far as Freemasonry. So it's not by coincidence that we like this. Not by chance. It's a big plan. Where people don't understand. I was talking to my dad earlier. We was having a conversation about. We was talking about something. People out of slavery, but you're still enslaved mentally. How is that? If you don't know the past, which the people have a problem teaching or even talking about, we can talk about Adolf Hitler and what my Jewish brothers went through, but don't nobody want to talk about what the hell we went through. I want to talk about that. Come on, man, that's in the past. My dude, why you think all these black people out here running around acting dumb as hell? Gang banging with colors. That's the movie that they put out for a reason. Boys in the Hood, all these damn things. You wouldn't know nothing about none of this stuff if it weren't for the damn, if it weren't for the stuff spreading these things. You know what I mean? Listen, man. These people are very, very smart. And we all against each other. Why? It's not by coincidence. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad speak a lot against Caucasian people, but he's speaking against the evil Caucasian people, not the good ones. Just like not all black people are good. It's some black devils out here. What you see when you look on TV? Don't you see a black man? Black man, you so powerful. Oh man, y'all don't want to hear that. Black man, you powerful, but you out here doing this and doing that, acting like black devil. When you're acting like black devil, you become black devil. You see what I'm saying? Alright, man, that ain't who you are. By nature, you the people of God. But by misfortune events, you acting like the people of the devil. Where who you see killing a lot of people? People that look like you. Where you shouldn't be doing that. Yeah, it's real serious, man. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he's speaking about the evil Caucasian people who brought us over here as slaves under the name of Christianity. That you can look in your phone and track. The people who made slaves out of us were labeled Christians. That's not what a real Christian is. I'm a Christian. We don't do that. We don't make slaves out of people. Alright? We don't hide knowledge from people. Hosea chapter 4 verse 6 say, my people are destroyed from a lack of knowledge. It is a sin, so well said by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, how the people have been put to sleep. At one point in time, it was against the law for us to read. Well, now we can read. You can read now, but you really don't know what you read or understand what you read. If you tell the truth. It's right there in black and white for you. But the people put things into code and depictions that even if you could read it, you don't understand what you read. It's like Leonardo da Vinci, how he hides stuff in his paintings. The people do stuff in code. What? Listen, man. But anyway, my brother, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, speaks a lot about the evil Caucasian people, not the good ones. Like, you see what I'm saying? But let me keep on going. Their rule will last only as long as you remain asleep to the knowledge of self. Awake and know that Allah has revealed the truth. Stop believing in something coming to you after you are physically dead. That is untrue, and no one can show any proof of such belief. Again, know that Jesus was only a prophet and cannot hear you pray any more than Moses or any other dead prophet. On this point right here, I disagree with, because I do believe Jesus can't hear. I believe anyone who dead who with the Lord, uh, this and that. But far as this and that, it ain't them we ought to be praying to. We ought to be praying to God our Father. Jesus taught us how to pray. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. He said, pray to your Father in my name. That's what we ought to be doing. We busy praying to people who, word, need to be praying to your Father. Not to the messengers. Word. Pray in the messenger name to your Father. Word. You understand? I agree with what he's saying and disagree. So why you reading what? Because I believe in his teaching. The man, it might be a few points you might disagree with a man with. Let's say a man walking right, talking right, he helping people, standing people up, giving sight to the blind, healing people who's sick mentally, physically, spiritually. That man got some power with him, to some degree. Because you can't raise up a Malcolm X, a Minister Farrakhan. You can't raise up people who mentally dead and help them. And they straighten up. Light come to their ass. You might hear a point or two that you don't fully understand, or you might even disagree with. But just because you disagree with one or 2 points, see the bigger picture. The man obviously got something. And that's more than enough to keep me captive. Where, like I say just now, hear me say I disagree with that point as far as Jesus can't hear. I believe he can hear. But if he was speaking, I wouldn't stop him. I would never stop him in mid-conversation. Where I'm just giving my point of reference, my how I feel on it. You know what I mean? Again, know that Jesus was only a prophet and cannot hear you pray any more than Moses or any other dead prophet. Know too that this white race was created to be the enemy of black mankind, for 6,000 years, which makes their number to be 6. That is not your number or mine. We do not have a number because we have no birth record. Do not let anyone fool you. This is the separation and the war of Armageddon. First, love yourself. One of the gravest handicaps among the so-called Negroes is that there is no love for self, nor love for his or her own kind. Not having love for self is the root cause of hate, dislike, disunity, disagreement, quarreling, betraying, stool pigeons, and fighting and killing one another. How can you be loved if you have not love for self and and your own nation, and dislike being a member of your own? Then what nation would trust your love and membership? You say of yourself, I love everybody. This cannot be true. Love for self comes first. The Bible, the book you claim to believe, says, love the brotherhood. 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 17. Love one another. John chapter 15, verse 17. Love of self comes first. The one who loves everybody is the one who does not love anyone. This is the false teaching of the Christians, for the Christians war against Christians. They have the Bible so twisted by adding in and taking out of the truth that it takes only God, or one whom God has given the knowledge of the book, to understand it. The Bible puts more stress upon the love for thy neighbor than the love for the brother. When asked, "Who is my neighbor?" the answer was contrary and incorrect. Jesus' answer was that of two men were on a journey. They were not far from the same place. One was from Jerusalem. The other was from Samaria. The other was a Samaritan. The Samaritan came to where the man from Jerusalem lay wounded by the robbers who had stripped him of his possessions. The Samaritan showed sympathy for the fellow traveler. He was not a neighbor in the sense of the word. A neighbor can be an enemy. Many enemies live in the same neighborhood of a good neighbor. But the answer that Jesus gave was a futile one, which could be classified as a parable of the so-called Negroes and their slave masters. The so-called Negroes fell into the hands of the slave masters, who have robbed, spoiled, wounded, and killed them. The Good Samaritan here will be the Mahdi, Allah, God in person, as he is often referred to by the Christians as the second coming of Jesus, or the Son of Man to judge man. This one will befriend the poor. This one will befriend the poor, the so-called Negroes, and heal their wounds by pouring into their heads knowledge of self and others, and free them of the yoke of slavery, and kill the slave masters, as Jehovah did Pharaoh, and his people, as Jehovah did in the case of Pharaoh and his people, to free Israel from bondage and the false religion and gods, lowercase g, of Pharaoh. There are many other proofs in the Bible which agree with the above answer. Love yourself and your kind. Let us refrain from doing evil to each other. Or let us refrain from doing evil to each other. And let us love each other as brothers, as we are the same flesh and blood. In this way, you and I not have any trouble. In this way, you and I will not have any trouble in uniting. It is a fool who does not love himself and his people. Your black skin is the best, and never try changing its color. Stay away from intermixing with your slave master's children. Love yourself and your kind. All right. Understand self. All right. Understand self. There are some efforts to celebrate a so-called Negro History Week, and some people and some of my people will participate. The planning of that week to teach the slave a knowledge of his past is not complete, sufficient, or comprehensive enough to enable my people to learn the true knowledge of themselves. It is important that my people learn the true knowledge of self, as it means their salvation. We are not Negroes, because God, whose proper name is Allah, has taught me who we are. We are not colored people, because God has taught me who the colored people are. The American Negro is without a knowledge of self. You are a so-called Negro because you are not a Negro. You are a so-called Negro because you are not a Negro. Allah has given to me our proper names, the people from whom we were taken and brought here to the shores of North America, and the history of our forefathers. Allah has taught me today. I do not fear to tell you that you can disregard that name Negro. We are not Negroes. We are not colored. Those are some of the main things which we should remember. We must first agree, we must become aware of the knowledge of self and the time in which we are living. You must know these things, whether you agree that Elijah Muhammad is on time or out of time. If what I say is out of season, it goes for nothing. If I'm on time or in season, then all I say will bear fruit. There is much misunderstanding among us because of our inferior knowledge of self. We have been to schools where they do not teach us the knowledge of self. We have been to the schools of our slave master children. We have been to their schools and gone as far as they allowed us to go. That was not far enough for us to learn a knowledge of self. The lack of knowledge of self is one of our main handicaps. It blocks us throughout the world. If you were the world, if you were the world and you were a part of the world, if you were the world and you were a part of the world, you would also turn a man down if he did not know who he actually was. If we, the so-called Negroes, do not know our own selves, how can we be accepted by a people who have a knowledge of self? Are we representing ourselves as Negroes and colored people in the ancient history of black men? Our search of the ancient history of the black man of the earth will prove that not once in the time were Negroes or colored people living in Asia or Africa. How did we come by those names? The names are from the slave masters. They have called us by their names and the nicknames used themselves. It even seems that we like being called by the slave master's name. After nearly 100 years of freedom, we are still representing ourselves by the names of our slave masters, by the names our slave masters called us. We must learn that the slave masters' names are not accepted by God or by the righteous people of God. It is time for us to learn who we really are, and it is time for us to understand ourselves. That true knowledge is here for you today, whether you accept it or reject it. God has said that we are members of the original people or black nation of the earth. Original means first. Historian J.A. Rogers points out in his book that beyond the cotton fields of the South, and long before the white man himself was a part of our planet, we were the original people ruling the earth according to the Holy Quran. We had governments superior to any we are experiencing today. Trace over the earth. Check back 5,000, 10,000, or 20,000 years ago. Look at history. Who were those people? They were our people. Today, we are confronted with proof of who the original people are and who shall live on this earth and call it their own. That's fair. Let me see. Snack on, man. I ain't gonna play. It's a good book, though. Alright, Message to the Blackman by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Good book. Right. I'm gonna give y'all what I got, and then I'm gonna go to sleep. I get up early. Still early though. I had some time to lay down for a minute. Look at TV or something. What those comments say? Yeah, I've been talking for a minute. To catch up with you, bro. I ain't gonna fletch. Catch up with you. Especially talking. That's not good. Have a nice little effect on you. Word. But anyway. I knew it. Yeah, what I found. Help self before helping others. What the title say? Help self before helping others. Many of my people, so-called Negroes, say we should help the nations of Africa, which are awakening. This has been said as if we owned America. We are so foolish. What part of America do you have that you can offer toward helping Africa? Who is independent? The nations of Africa or we? The best act would be to represent. The best act would be to request the independent governments of Africa and Asia to help us. We are the ones who need help. We have little or nothing to offer as help to others. We should begin to help at home first. Word. We are 20 million strong. Many of the nations today that have their independence and those who are getting their independence are much smaller in number than my people in America. We are dependent on the slave master. We do not have 2 feet of earth for our nation of people. You and I here in America are licking the boots of the slave master, begging him for the right of independent people. Begging him for the right of independent people. Yes, we are licking his boots. Sir, let me shine your shoes. You have been doing that for approximately 400 years. Today, if one rises up in your midst and says, we should not lick the slave master's boots, we should lick our own boots, you would say, he should be killed. He should be killed because he is teaching us to hate. My people, you are in a dangerous position. Get that fear out of you and stand up for your people. Who are you not to die for? Who are you not to die for? Your people? Word. Who am I not to die for my people? If I am shot down or cut down today, who is little Elijah Muhammad to 20 million of you? If a million of us throw ourselves in the fire for the benefit of the 20 of the 20 million, the loss will be small compared to the great gain our people will make as a result of that sacrifice. Hundreds of thousands of Muslims gave their lives in Pakistan to get their nation's independence. They were successful. The black men in Africa are fighting and dying today in unity for their independence. We sit here like pampered babies. We cannot even stand up on the floor, not to mention taking a chance of crawling out of the door. We are too careful of shedding blood for ourselves. We are willing to shed all of it for the benefit of others. I am not trying to get you to fight. That is not even necessary. Our unity will win the battle. None of us will have to raise a sword. Not one gun would we need to fire. The great cannon that will be fired is our unity. Our unity is the best. Why are you afraid to unite? Why are you afraid to accept Allah and Islam? It is only because the slave master did not teach you of this. We must unite to ourselves as a nation of people. Separation of the so-called Negroes from their slave masters' children is a must. It is the only solution to our problem. You must know that this is the time of our separation and the judgment of this world. The Caucasian, what he got in parentheses, which you and I have known. Therefore, Allah has said to me that the time is right for you and me to accept our own, the planet Earth. Are you waiting for the divine destruction? Come, let us reason together. First, in order for us to reason, you must have a thorough knowledge of self. Who is going to teach you that knowledge of self? Who are you waiting for to teach you the knowledge of self? Surely not your slave master who blinded you to that knowledge of self. The slave master will not teach you knowledge of self, as there would not be a master-slave relationship, as there would not be a master-slave relationship any longer. Where, where, we gonna get through it though. Like that walk got to the. Yeah, we gonna get through it though earlier. Yeah. What the so-called Negro must do for himself. Men everywhere are seeking unity among themselves. Every race of people want unity with their own kind first, except my people, the so-called Negro in America. Our condition and lack of love for ourselves must be attributed to the slave master. He has been our teacher until the coming. He has been our teacher until the coming of Almighty God, Allah. The slave master has robbed my people of their God, religion, name, language, and culture. The worst kind of crime has been committed against us, for we were robbed of our desire to even want to think and do for ourselves. We are often pictured by the slave master as a lazy and trifling people who are without thoughts of advancement. I say this is a condition which the slave master very cleverly wanted and created within and among the so-called Negroes. Robert H. Kinzer and Edward Sagarian, in their book, The Negro in American Business, page 81, states that the history of America would be different today if the slaves freed from bondage had been given in addition to the three amendments of the Constitution, the famous 40 acres and a mule. The slaves instead started not only without land and the money to purchase it, but with few avenues open to earn and save money. Ownership of producing land is the prime and necessary part of freedom. A people cannot exist freely without land, and the so-called Negro in America is evidence of that fact. The slave master passed laws limiting the so-called Negro in land ownership, or limiting the areas in which such purchases or even rentals could be made. Are you not left restricted to the poor sections the slave master is abandoning throughout America? Again, Mr. Kinzer and Mr. Segarian gave a hint in their book of the great psychological strategy of the slave master on his slave, that the original brainwash, that is, the original brainwash, on page 84. The authors state that the land sold to the ex-slaves was of poor quality and and in an inferior location. They state the so-called Negroes face pressure against becoming a farm owner and pressure from the white community that he remain a tenant. We encountered credit difficulties. We encountered credit difficulties, hardships of repayment of loans, and hardship with white executives from whom the loans must be asked. All of this is part of the clever plan to discourage my people from wanting to own producing land for themselves, to cause a great dislike within them for having anything to do with tiling, cultivating, extracting, and producing for themselves as other free and independent people. It is a shame. This shows you and I what white America is to us, and just why we have not been able to do anything worthwhile for self. They want to help us so they can mistreat us always. We must come together and unite. It is time. I think it is a disgrace for us to be satisfied with only a servant's part. We should and must, as other people, want for ourselves. what other civilized nations have. Let us do for ourselves that which we are begging the slave master to do for us. Do not be fooled by the false promise of civil rights and the softening of their language. It is offered to you now to keep you from becoming free of their evil plans and depriving you of the offer made to us by Allah. If we would submit to him, he will set us in heaven at once. It is only justice that we be given land and provisions for a start, so that we may do for ourselves this what the other new emerging nations are given. We want good, productive land, not earth that is scorched, but land that will produce crops and hold foundations for structures. Let us make this clear. I'm not begging. I'm not begging, for it pleases Allah. He will give us a home, and I'm with him. Today, according to Allah's word, we are living in a time of the great separation of the blacks and the whites. The prophecy, 400 years of slavery, as to the time the so-called Negroes would serve the white peoples, ended in 1955. The so-called Negroes must return to their own. The separation would be a blessing for both sides. It was the only solution, according to the Bible, for Israel and the Egyptians. It will prove to be the only solution for America and her slaves. That's fire. And I agree with that. The black people is doing better in segregation then than they ever did. Right. I ain't gonna play. I ain't gonna play. My boys. Yeah, they're talking, man. I got a cousin named Wood. That dude always talking. My dude voice will get hoarse from talking all damn time. I could tell when Wood been talking all damn night. Word. My nigga barely say a word the next day. Wood, wherever you at. I was talking about you earlier. Alright. I'll be eating these junk. I don't really eat them like that, but I'm snacking on a few of them today. I had one yesterday. Some of these lemon junk. Y'all mess with them. These junks ain't bad. These lemon junk. Mess with them. I damn sure went to sleep eating some of these junks. Alright. I got finished. But I hope y'all take to heart what the brother's saying. Listen, the people got to get themselves straight before they can mingle with other people. Word. Y'all worried about getting everybody else's house in order. Gotta get our house in order. As far as the black people in America. You're against each other. Gotta get our house in order. Then you can mix with the other people. And you know what I mean? Help them. Gotta help self first, and that's true. That's 100% true. And that's why I say the segregation thing was a good thing in the past, from what I saw, from what I looked at about history. Now, I mean, many black people are starting their own stuff. You're starting to pull together. You see what I'm saying? Got mixed up and mingling around, different this and that. Use one point time to stick together. They ain't like that right now, is it? I'm talking about as far as like the older people, and they like that. Get knowledge to benefit self. What the title said. Page 39. I am for the acquiring of knowledge, or the accumulation or the accumulating of knowledge, as we now call it, education. First, my people must be taught the knowledge of self. Then and only then will they be able to understand others and that which surrounds them. Anyone who does not have a knowledge of self is considered a victim of either amnesia or unconsciousness, and is not very competent. The lack of knowledge of self is a prevailing condition among my people here in America. Gaining the knowledge of self makes us unite into a great unity. Knowledge of self makes you take on the great virtue of learning. Many people have attempted to belittle or degrade my followers by referring to them as unlettered or unschooled. They do this to imply that the believers in Islam are ignorant. If such a claim were so, then all the more credit should be given for our striving for self-elevation with so little. But truth represents itself, stands by itself. No followers nor any other people are more zealous about the acquiring of knowledge than my followers. Throughout the Holy Quran, the duty of a Muslim to acquire knowledge is spelled out. My people should get an education which will benefit their own people, and not an education adding to the storehouse of their teacher. We need education, but education which removes us from the shackles of slavery and servitude. Get an education, but not an education which leaves us in an inferior position and without a future. Get an education, but not an education that leaves us looking to the slave master for a job. Education for my people should be where our children are off to themselves for the first 15 or 16 years in classes separated by sex. Then they could and should seek higher education without the danger of losing respect for self or seeking to lose their identity. No people strive to lose themselves among other people except the so-called American Negroes. This they do because of their own lack of self. This they do because of their lack of knowledge of self. We should acquire an education where our people will become better students than their teachers. Get an education which will make our people produce jobs for self and will make our people willing and able to go and do for self. This is not the goal and aim of many foreign students who are studying in this country. Oh, is this not the goal and aim of the many foreign students who are studying in this country? Will not these students return to their own nations and give their people the benefit of their learning? Did not Nurama, Nurama return to Ghana to lead his people in independence? With the benefit of learning he acquired here in America and elsewhere, did not Dr. Hastings Banda return to give the benefit of his education to his people who are striving toward freedom and independence in Nyasaland? Did not Namdi Azikiwe of Nigeria give the benefit of his education to the upliftment and independence of his people? Does not America offer exchange scholarships to smaller, weaker, independent foreign governments so their students will acquire knowledge to aid the people of those countries? Then why shouldn't the goal in education be the same for you and me? That is fire right there. Why is scorn and abuse directed toward my followers and myself when we say our people should get an education which will aid, benefit, and uplift our people? Any other people would consider it a lasting insult of the worst type to ask them to refrain from helping their people to be independent by contributing the benefit of their knowledge. Get an education, but one which will instill the idea and desire to get something of your own, a country of your own, and jobs of your own. I recall in 1922 or 1923 when a debate was taking place in Congress concerning appropriation of funds for Howard University, a school set aside to train my people in the nation's capital. A senator said this, and it is in the records to be examined in effect. What would be the need of the government appropriation money to educate Negroes? He said that they would not teach our people the science of modern warfare, defense, birth control, or chemistry. He knew these were things free people must know in order to protect, preserve, and advance themselves. We have not been able to protect, preserve, and advance ourselves. This shows the slave master has been very successful in dominating us with an education beneficial to him. This is a saying, oh, there is a saying among us, mother may have, father may have, but God blesses the child who has its own. It is time we had our own. That's fire right there. That's fire. Y'all, people who locked and start in, drop a 100 if you really rocking with me. If you ain't rocking with me, I still appreciate you for tuning in. I want an education for my people that will let them exercise the right of freedom We are 100 years up from slavery. We are constantly told that we are free. Why can't we take advantage of that freedom? I want an education for my people that will elevate them. Why should we always be lying at the gate begging for bread, shelter, shelter, clothes, and jobs? If we are free and educated, make that make sense. It's fact. Do not get an education just to set it up as some useless symbolic monument to the black man in the Western Hemisphere. Man, this dude, bro, that's fact. Do not get an education just to set it up as some useless symbolic monument to the black man in the Western Hemisphere. We need an education that eliminates division among us. Acquire an education that creates unity and makes us desire to be with our own. What that comment say? The acquiring of knowledge for children and ourselves must not be limited to the three R's: reading, writing, and arithmetic. It should instead include the history of the black nation, the knowledge of civilization of man and the universe and all the science. It will make us a greater people. It will make us a greater people of tomorrow. We must instill within our people the desire to learn and then use that learning for self. We must be obsessed with getting the type of education we may use toward the elevation and benefit of our people. When we have such people among us, we must make it possible for them to acquire this wealth, which will be beneficial and useful to us. One of the attributes of Allah, the all-wise God, who is the supreme being, is knowledge. Knowledge is the result of learning and is a force of energy that makes its bearer accomplish or overcome obstacles, barriers, and resistance. In fact, God means possessor of power and force. The education my people need is that knowledge, the attribute of God, which creates power to accomplish and make progress in the good things or the righteous things. We have tried other means and ways and we have failed. Why not try Islam? It is our only salvation. It is the religion of Allah, His prophets, and our forefathers. Y'all wanna know what I'm reading? It's Message to the Black Man in America by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Word up. Knowledge of self is the next chapter. I support you. That's what's up. That's what's up. For all y'all, hit that like, share, subscribe button. We moving. Let me eat a few of these because I need them. I'm trying to get dry a little bit. Y'all remember this? Yeah, lemonades. I need a few of them. The brother speaking truth though. Everything we know, everything we talk, is to help other people. You can go get your bachelor's. You can go get your bachelor's some type of degree, but you can't use it unless they give you permission to. You can't use it unless they give you permission to. You dig it? Crazy. You gotta pay for that. You get America, man. What they call it, home of the brave? More like home of the slave. Ask me. Hey, that wasn't nice. Nigga, it's the truth though. But listen. Knowledge of self. You is the title. You are ever making mistakes which will prove fatal to you and others of your own if you could only recognize the time and acknowledge of yourself and kind and knowledge of the others who are on the same planet rotating the sun daily, you would know who you are, and you should know who you are, as well as know your planet, and its consistency. And remember at all times how you were brought here through our parents 400 years ago, and how our parents were mercilessly brought here against their will. They did not ask to come, but were forced, and were used for merchandise to be sold and resold for 300 long years like livestock and wild beasts. You do not have a second thought about this, because you have your mind, eyes, and heart filled with hopes that you may become one of those who did this evil against your parents, and be recognized as a great admirer and lover of these same people who now rehearse the same evil with a little addition: the fire hose and the dogs, the burning and the lynching of you and your women. You are not able, at this day and time, 100 years, a free slave, to protect yourself and your woman from the murderous hands of the children of the murderers of your fathers and mothers 400 years ago. Today, God, in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, is asking you and me to accept our own and return to our own kind on some of this earth that we can call our own. And you are rejecting this offer to return to your own unless you can carry the same enemy along who has destroyed your fathers and is now destroying you. They were not brought and sold as you were. They did not come from America. They did not come from Africa, but from Europe. You are so blinded that you cannot see them, and so deaf that you cannot hear the truth of them, and desire to be one of them, and mix into their blood, and have them mix into your blood. This is like Sodom and Gomorrah before God. You should remember that you have a great offer made to you in these words: accept your own. To accept your own means yourself and your kind, your God who is of you and you are of him. It was your fathers who created the heavens and the earth. While there is nothing, while there is nothing that the white man has created independently, while there is nothing that the white man has created independently, he did not even create himself. The black man, the black nation is self-created. While the white race is made by one of the gods, lowercase g, and scientists of the black nation. Their time on our planet is nothing compared to the time that we have been in the universe on this planet. It is hardly a fraction of a minute. If we divide their 6,000 years into our billions and trillions of years, it would run into little or no time at all. We are the originals. So Almighty God, Allah, has revealed. He has asked you who belong to the original people of the earth to accept your place among them, since you have been robbed of knowledge and your place on this planet that you can call your own and your place among your own. You must remember that this is a wonderful offer, and it is a wonderful knowledge to know the truth. And it is even more wonderful to know that the truth is in your favor, and the earth as well as the heavens above belong to you. Accept your own. That which you have been dead to the knowledge of. Now that God has come in your midst to resurrect you and put you in your place of authority, you are ignorant enough to put yourself in the place of a dog at the feet of the white race, begging them to accept you as their brother, when they could not do this if they tried. They would still be deceiving you, and their efforts would end in the manifest truth that it was only false of them to try to establish brotherhood among you. Their time of ruling the people of earth is up. Accept your place in the sun as it was originally before the creation of this world. You must remember that the slave names will keep you a slave in the eyes of the civilized world today. You have seen and recently that Africa and Asia will not honor you or give you any respect as long as you are called by the white man's name. The example was evident when I took Muhammad Ali, the world's heavyweight champion, out of the white man's name. The name itself made him a servant and slave to the white man. All Africa and Asia then acclaimed him as so being their champion. This shows you that all previous black men of America who were bestowed with the title of the world's heavyweight champion were only exalting the white man of America. Europe and Australia, their people said nothing because they were not theirs. Their people said nothing because they were not theirs and were not enhancing their honor among the people of the world. Just a change of name has given Brother Muhammad Ali a name of honor and a name of praise that will live forever. Its meaning: his people of the Near and Far East acclaimed him and laid the red carpet for him to come along them as a prince. I warn you to wake up and accept your own, or go to the doom with other than your own. All right. That's fire. If the civilized man fails to perform his duty, what must be done? Is what the title said. The duty of the civilized man is to teach civilization to the civilized, the arts, the sciences of civilized people and countries of advanced civilization. A divine messenger of God, Allah, raised among his people with the divine message, is held responsible for its delivery. His message teaches spiritual civilization, which is important to the success of a nation and society. According to history, the people who refuse to accept divine guidance or his message sent by his messengers are classified as uncivilized or savages. A well-educated, cultured, and courteous people make a beautiful society when it is spiritual. Good manners come from the civilized man who does not fail to perform his duty. There are several civilizations. We have a wicked one and a righteous one. It is a righteous civilization that is in the workings now. We all have been trained into the wicked civilization. Now we must be trained into the knowledge of the righteous one. We must have a righteous, trained, civilized man who will not fail to perform his duty to us in guiding and teaching us. My people in America are under the searchlight of the righteous who are offering to them the right guidance to a supreme civilization of righteousness never witnessed before on earth. The white race has failed to perform its duty of civilizing the American so-called Negroes. Of course, they have been their slaves for many centuries, and the slave masters have rights over them as long as they are slaves. However, if the slave masters free their slaves, but not in words, but in deeds, the slave master should provide the once slaves with the right civilization and with everything necessary for them to start an independent life as their slave masters have. Certainly, the so-called Negroes are being schooled, but certainly the so-called Negroes are being schooled. But is this education the of their slave masters? No. The so-called Negroes are still begging for equal education. After blinding them to the knowledge of self and their own kind for 400 years, the slave masters have refused to civilize the so-called Negroes and into the knowledge of themselves, of which they were robbed. The slave masters also persecuted and hindered anyone who tries to perform this most rightful duty. I will continue to say that as long as the so-called Negroes do not know who they really are and do not have the knowledge to free themselves from their slave masters' names and religion, they cannot be considered free or civilized. To this, their slave masters will agree. Some of the so-called Negroes are ignorant of this important advantage of having their own nations. Names. They think that there is nothing to a name, and there is not, and there is not, and there is not to the ones they are using. But the Bible says, A good name is better than gold. To continue to bear the slave masters' names makes my people the property of their slave masters or their children, and we can never hope to receive equal recognition in the civilized world. Will a free people accept slaves as their equal? The so-called Negroes must be truly civilized, and the right civilized man has not performed his duty until this is accomplished. However, the so-called Negro is free to receive his or her own if they just uh, if they just will not allow fear and ignorance to stand in their way. It has been seen from the little chance they have had to get a little education, they have shown and proved that they are the original people who are only asleep and in great need of the right civilized man who will perform his duty of awakening them. The so-called Negroes fear of being deprived of food, clothing, and shelter, and also the usual smile of the white and also the unusual smile of the white slave master's children prevents them from seeking the true knowledge of their own nation's civilization. They must drop the slave masters' names and religions, while both they have, which both they have, which both they have and do not understand. This means nothing but slavery. Of course, some preachers and politicians who live off the ignorance of their people are opposed to the right civilization of our people. You must know that you have not been rightly civilized. No one can enslave another who has equal No one can enslave another who has equal education, knowledge. My people lack science of the right kind. Allah is here to give you and me a superior knowledge of things and the country to ourselves. Separation of the so-called Negroes from their slave master children is a must. It is the only solution to our problem. It was the only solution according to the Bible for Israel and the Egyptians, and it will prove to be the only solution for America and her slaves, while whom she mockingly calls her students, her citizens. Or man, that's fire though. They were damn sure on point. You're right. They damn sure on point. That talking take a lot out of you, my boy. I appreciate your comments too. I really, really do. It take a lot of energy. Right. Just keep on going. I ain't the Energizer Bunny, but the Energizer Bunny ain't got nothing on the kid though. Yeah. I'm gonna try to read the rest of this other page. I'm gonna try to keep it going. But it's good to know all you can now. But now that talking, Bro, I feel it. Especially them hours back to back. Them junks hit you. I used to feel that junk when I was doing them junks. Them when I first used to do like a Bible and Quran teaching back to back. Like yo, this junk. I feel this junk. All that talking, bro. I was talking no more. Talk when I walk back on here. Talk. That's a whole lot. A whole lot. I ain't gonna fight you. We're gonna get through. Get through. Yeah, we're gonna get through. I promise you. We will get through it. Make this last page. Without granting citizenship, we must keep this in our minds at all times. We are actually being mocked. I think it is a disgrace to us forever being satisfied with only the servant's part. Should we not, as a people, want for ourselves what other civilized nations have? It takes a true friend or friends to help another or others to enjoy equal freedom, justice, and equality. Today, for the first time in our history, we have that true friend. We have that true friend in Allah, who came in the person of Master Prophet Muhammad and the nation of Islam. If we only submit and accept him, it is written, Revelation 14 verse 1, that 144,000 of us will accept and return to our God and people, and the rest of my people will go down with the enemies of Allah. For this said prophecy of the loss of my people, I write what I'm writing, hoping perhaps that you may be able to beat the old prophet's predictions by making the truth so simple that a fool can understand it. You must be rightly civilized. You must go back to your own people and country, but not one of you can return with what you have. You must know that this is the time of our separation and the judgment of this world, the Caucasian race, that you and I have known. Therefore, Allah has said to me that the time is right for you and me to accept our own, the whole planet. What are you waiting for? The destruction? Come, let us reason together. But you cannot until you have a thorough knowledge of self. Who are you waiting for to teach you the knowledge of self? Surely not your slave masters who blinded you to the knowledge. The white race's civilization will never work for us. All right. I'm ended on that note, page 46 from 30. 31 to 46. Y'all be blessed. Take y'all's time. I would keep going, but I'm about to just chill. Y'all keep on learning, keep on pressing forward, keep on trying to know who you are. Alright? Many people don't know, got lost. Good to know. I'm gonna catch y'all again though. Y'all be blessed. Peace.